should seek than the outside peace. So any comments, your comments on this, sir?
Okay. Okay. So first of all, I am so glad that students are.
Milinji,
Yes,
can we
please.
request Honorable Swamiji to guide us on this?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just
Honorable Atma Priyananda Swamiji.
yes, please. Just Atma Priyanandji would like to tell that in our MIT World Peace University, we have got a peace program wherein there are 6 dedicated peace subjects, and they are very much a part of the academic curriculum with credits. And just like there are lectures on mathematics and electronics, there are lectures on those peace subjects. They are guided and given guidance and ideas by our revered Professor Dr. Karad sir. And yoga is mandatory for the first year. All the Thursdays, yoga is compulsorily practiced here. So the student is asking questions, and as per Vice Chancellor Dr. Pandey sir, that why meditation is not being given as much importance as other things. So I would like you to kindly handle this question.
I think meditation is becoming more and more important. Meditation, called dhyana, is the penultimate stage of the Ashtanga Yoga. Unfortunately, we begin with asana and go to meditation or dhyana. Patanjali begins with yama, niyama, then comes asana. So in the present yoga teaching, we are not sufficiently emphasizing the first two yama, niyama. So I jokingly say, the Ashtanga has become Vikalanga because it becomes Shashtanga. Yama, niyama,
Right.
morality, ethics, and purity, these are the bedrock on which all spirituality, meditation, dhyana is based. So dhyana is becoming more and more important. It is being emphasized.
Absolutely.
It's difficult to practice because you have to simply sit quiet, calm your mind and senses and look inward. And this Corona, COVID-19 has taught us a great lesson in getting locked down in your own inward consciousness. Don't get locked up outside, but get locked down inwardly. And therefore, this is a time when we should re-emphasize calmness. Rather than calling it meditation, we call it prayer,
Right.
silent prayer, which will lead you to meditation. Meditation is very hard to practice. Silently
Absolutely.
you pray. If you believe in God, you pray to one. If you do not believe in God, you pray to the supreme intelligence which is guiding the universe. Einstein said, my religion consists in a humble adoration of that
Yes,
supreme
yes.
intelligence which we can understand only in the most primitive form.
Yes. Swamiji,
So
thank you very
prayer
much for that input. It is precisely 12:45 hours, and it is now time to start with the 10th session. Thank you very much for that input and guidance. And yes, indeed, as you rightly said, it is difficult because it demands that a person should sit quietly and try to introspect. And sitting quietly in today's world itself has become a big, big challenge for probably every one of us. Thank you very much, Swamiji, for that guidance and answering that question. Patreji, thanks to you as well. Thank you very much. With now,
Bapat sir, we have Honorable CM sir. We can go
yes, yes,
ahead.
yes,
Thank you.
yes. I'm starting with this session. Thank you very much. With the permission of Chair, Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir and Honorable CM sir's permission, I would now like to start this session. Thank you very much, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in for this 10th and very important session of 6th World Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy, organized by Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University. Indeed, a warm welcome to each one of you, because in this 10th session of this World Parliament, we will experience the declaration of the Dalai Lama chair, and we will also have the panel discussion on importance of Indic studies for future of the world peace. Indeed, a very, very important topic. And we are very, very grateful to the Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh for taking time out and joining us for this very, very important session. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for taking time out and joining us in this important session. We have the presence of Honorable Trustee and Secretary of Foundation for Universal Responsibility for His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, New Delhi, Sri Rajiv Mehrotra ji. Thank you very much, sir, for joining. It is indeed our honor that you have also taken time out for this session. Honorable Chief Minister, sir, has already joined this session, along with the other dignitaries who would be participating into the panel. Professor at the Department of Religion, University of Hawaii at Manoa, United States of America, Professor Dr. Ramdas Lam is also with us. We also have the head of the Department of Buddhist Studies at Delhi University, Dr. Karamteej Singh Sarauji. Thank you very much for joining in. And of course, we have the presence of Honorable Vice Chancellor of MIT World Peace University, Dr. N.T. Rao, sir. Thank you everyone on this digital dais for joining us for this extremely important session. And now I would like to begin with this session with the permission of everyone in this dais. And I would like to request Sri Darshan Mundaraji to propose the welcome and brief the entire audience on the Dalai Lama chair. Over to you, Darshanji.
Good afternoon, everyone. Warm pranam. There are very few days when I have butterflies in my stomach before I'm supposed to speak. Today is one of those days. Why? I'm reminded of Kabirji's Doha. Guru Gobind do khade, Guru Gobind do khade, kake lagu paye, Balihari Guru apano, Gobind diyo bataye. I find myself in the fortunate dilemma today. My Guru and the God I believe in, I find both of them on the same platform. Who do I first bow to? Very rarely does one get an opportunity that brings together the teacher and the divine. I start by offering my respects to my Guru, friend, philosopher, and guide, revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath D. Karad, sir. If it was not for him, I would not be on this platform today. And if it was not for him, I wouldn't have met the only living human being who I believe embodies the supreme God particle, the divine, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. Pranam. It was a chance meeting with His Holiness in 1996 on the lawns of the campus of this very most prestigious institution, the Myers MIT College then, which is now known as Dr. Vishwanath Karad MIT World Peace University. That my life changed forever. And this opportunity today brings life around the full circle. Karad sir, all his life has been driven by the vision and mission that a value-based universal education system is the only opportunity for us to grow as a human race. It is the lack thereof, that has led to the current situation of chaos, confusion, greed, and anger. Out of this passion for engineering young minds on a constructive path, MIT was born in 1983, and parallelly, a mission to enable world peace through education that today manifests in the World Peace Dome, a creation beyond human belief. Today, we are coming together to celebrate the epitome of that, a partnership between Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University, represented by the young and dynamic torchbearer of the vision of his father, Mr. Rahul V. Karad, and the Foundation for Universal Responsibility of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, represented by my friend and mentor, Sri Rajiv Ji Mehrotra, to jointly create a chair dedicated to the studies of ancient Indic knowledge systems, the Nalanda traditions, and the teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Mine are not standard welcome remarks, and that's the reason I'm taking liberty to speak slightly extra, because I have to lay the context for this session. To be housed at the world's largest dome, an unbelievable creation of Dr. Karad sir, the Dalai Lama chair is envisioned to bring to fore His Holiness the Dalai Lama's contribution and achievements towards nurturing a global discourse on a wide range of issues, such as the revival of India's rich civilizational heritage, a part of the Nalanda tradition, to be re-articulated in a manner that it responds to contemporary predicaments and crises. Celebrating diversity, especially in today's times, the relationship between the different religions and intellectual traditions. It's about strategies to nurture universal values, independent of any particular faith, caste, or creed. It's about enabling conversations between science and spirituality, the core belief of MIT World Peace University. It's about the political and life philosophy
Darshanji,
of
may I a
nonviolence.
little bit, can you little bit louder, please?
Am
Dear
I
Darshan,
audible, everyone?
yeah, little louder, please.
Yes.
Yes. May I request all the panelists to mute themselves? Yeah, thank you. And finally, the political philosophy of nonviolence, the art of positive peace. I can go on with further details, but it will steal the thunder of the forthcoming declaration. At conclusion, I like to say that today's event is just the first joint step by Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University, and the Foundation for Universal Responsibility of His Holiness the Dalai Lama on the journey to create a Center for Excellence in Indic Studies, the Dalai Lama Center. I also pay my tribute to His Holiness and hope we are receiving his blessings from Dharamshala. I welcome Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Shri Pema Khanduji. I welcome the esteemed panelists for the panel discussion, Dr. Ramdasji Lam and Dr. Karan Tej Singh Sarauji. Rajiv ji, warm welcome. Once again, welcome to all, and I look forward to the declaration and engaging conversation slated later today, a glimpse into the future activities of the chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Darshanji. And indeed, as you rightly said, you had a good fortune to meet His Holiness Sri Dalai Lama. And indeed, I'm sure what experience that would have been. But indeed, I think we all are lucky today to have people on the panel in this particular session. Those have been playing their part to bring, I would say, world peace and bringing order to the world in their own way. We have the world-renowned scientist, Dr. Vijay P. Bhatkar, sir, in this session. Thank you very much, sir, for being in this session with us. Extremely delighted the way he has dedicated his life not just for computer science, but keeping in mind what matters more. Sri Prema Khanduji is also a person like of the same stature, I would say. But before starting the session, I would like to share one small thought, one small incident that has happened a few days back. And Sri Rahul Karat sir wrote a letter to Honorable Chief Minister of the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Sri Prema Khanduji. I would like to read a small paragraph of that letter. Sri Rahul Karat says, I want to express my appreciation and respect for the deep commitment that you have shown towards the residents of the state of Arunachal Pradesh. You undertook the task of accessing a remote village of Lugutang by walking. Listen, everyone, very carefully, please. By walking for 11 hours and covering a distance of 24 kilometers and to access one of the most inhospitable areas of our vast country. To understand the problems of the people of this village, this enhances my respect for you manifolds. This, I believe, is the essence of true leadership. Indeed, it is our honor to have you here today, sir. Thank you very much once again for taking time out and being here with us. Now, before I start this session formally, I would like to request each one of you to rise in your seat wherever you are for the Indian national anthem. I request my technical team if they could please relay the national anthem, please. Thank you very much, everyone. And now, as for the traditions, I would say the decades, the tradition of last 4 decades of Mights Mighty group of institutions to start every important occasion with a very special prayer, which is the gift of Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat, sir, for each one of us. It is the World Peace Prayer, a prayer that talks only about the well-being of humanity and world peace and not of any religion, caste, section of society. I request my technical team to kindly relay the World Peace Prayer, but equally I request everyone in the participants to fold their hands, close their eyes, and bring the image of their deity loved ones in front of their eyes and wholeheartedly participate in World Peace Prayer. Over to you, technical team.
नमो जियाद्या वेद प्रतिपाद्या जय जय स्वसंवेद्या आत्मरूपा देवातूति गणेषु सकलार्थमतिप्रकाशु म्हणे निवृत्तिदासु अवधारि बोधि गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to go ahead and capture the picture perfect moment for this particular session, for which I would like to request everyone in the panel if they could please put on their camera and wear a beautiful smile so that we can capture a beautiful photograph through a screenshot for this particular session. I request my technical team to please grab the group photograph of this particular session.
Done, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I'm sure it is a new way, new normal of capturing the photographs. Thank you very much for that. And now I would like to invite the Pro Vice Chancellor of MIT World Peace University, Group Captain DP Apte, to address the gathering on behalf of the Managing Trustee and Executive President of MIRES MIT and Executive President of MIT World Peace University and Chief Initiator of MIT School of Government, founder of Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, National Teachers Congress, National Women's Parliament, Sarpanch Sansad, and many other socially sensitive initiatives. I would request Group Captain DP Apte sir to address the gathering on behalf of Sri Rahul V. Karat. Over to you, sir.
I think Professor Gautam, there is some communication gap. I think.
Oh, you were able to log in, sir. Yes.
No, I'm very much here, but I think it is as per our sequence, and since Honorable Chief Minister Malhotraji, everybody is here. I think we should continue. Captain Apte, in our usual tradition, you can welcome and just we can start the session. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. It is
not my address.
it is indeed my it is indeed my honor to welcome on this 10th session of 10th World Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy. And today, this 10th session, we are going to have this resolve for declaration of the Dalai Lama Chair for Indic Studies for Future of the World. And that's our subject of today. And for this, we are honored to have Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Honorable Prem Khanduji. And actually, who else we can expect when you are talking about the peace studies? Because Arunachal Pradesh, any place you walk, you immediately get connected to the peace. That's the beauty of Himalayas and Hindu Kush, and I had been there in Arunachal Pradesh. It is a haven on the earth, and only you can go there and actually meet the gods. So welcome, sir, for coming to this place, and online, of course, because you're still there. I also welcome Sri Rajiv Malhotraji, who is trustee and secretary of Universal Responsibility for His Holiness Dalai Lamaji, and who is the instrumental in getting this chair, and which will be announced later. And he is the one who is actually instrumental. And we will be able to take up the Indic studies at this place. Now I'll talk about how we came to this particular place after welcoming all the guests. Professor Dr. Ramdas Lam, who is professor at Religious and University of Hawaii at Manoa, USA. And again, now I just found a connect with Professor Ramdas Lamji, because when we are talking about the religious studies, I am a student of Indic studies, and I am also a student of a religion of Hawaii, which is called the Kahuna, Sahuna. I am studying that. I have written a book also on that. So I could quickly connect it with the professor from Hawaii. I also welcome Dr. Karam Tej Singh Sarao, head of the Department of Buddhist Studies of University of Delhi University. So with this, after welcome, let me tell all the guests, although they are aware and they will hear it when our revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad will speak. At that time, they will know how we came up here to this particular stage. And also our Executive President, Rahul Karad, he will be able to tell us about this. But let me tell you a small journey of this, particularly in the relevant to the world peace. Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad has always been following Swami Vivekananda's saying or principle that union of science and spirituality oblique religion will only bring the peace and happiness to mankind. And he's walking not only himself, but the entire university, all the institutes on this particular path of Swami Vivekananda ji. He had taken a number of initiatives under the World Peace Chair, Alandi, that is UNESCO chair, which he is chairholder, and number of initiatives on the banks of river here near Alandi. Also many other initiatives. That is, he believed that pilgrim centers are nothing but the divine knowledge centers. He had taken up the steps for developing the pilgrim centers. And that is actually Jnana centers. And he is instrumental in developing those. And it has culminated to this, what we call it, World Peace Dome, Sant Jnaneshwara World Peace Prayer Hall and Sant Jnaneshwara World Peace Library. We call it colloquially as a World Peace Dome. It is the largest dome. It's not only a question of structure and larger than other domes, and that's not, we are definitely proud of that. However, the peace which we are, and we all are in the quest of finding out that universal peace or what it is for that. And that is the one which he has, we can actually experience at that World Peace Dome. I would also like to just mention here that we have a world peace, we have a peace course for all the students at MIT World Peace University. And we actually teach the students on various subjects. But in that, the Indic studies is one of the important topic, because many of us, right, although we are in India and staying in India, studying here in the schooling and college, we hardly know about our country, our ancient treasures, which Upanishads and Vedic literatures and our history talks about. Because we mostly in school literature, in half a paragraph or one paragraph, we finish Upanishad, and another one paragraph we put the Indus Valley civilization. Maybe little bit more on Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, which they show some photographs. But that's the knowledge we have. And then suddenly we jump to 10th century AD or 12th century AD and further. So there's definitely a lot to study from Indic
Yes.
studies, from Bauddhic religion, Jain religion, which are originated in this country. And there are a lot of philosophy in that. More you study, more you realize that how little you know about these philosophies. So from that point of view, I once again welcome all here to attend this particular important session, and also declaration of Dalai Lama chair. Welcome. Thank you very much. And
Thank
we
you.
are eager to listen from these thought leaders on this subject.
Absolutely.
Over to Gautam Baba.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir, for that welcome. And I was informed that there was some technical difficulty at the executive president's side, but I can see now he is online. So I would like to request him if he would like to address the gathering.
I suggest, Gautam, let us continue. Let Mr. Malhotra speak, Rajivji
Sure.
speak his mind about the chair, and then I want to express our commitment.
Sure. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much. And as Apte sir rightly suggested in his address just a few minutes back, that it is not about the structure that Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir dreamt of many years back. And after relentless work of 12 years, he created the Philosopher's Century Gyaneshwara World Peace Prayer Hall and World Peace Prayer Library, which we call it the World Peace Dome. I'm sure many of us would have seen the structure, but many of us would have not been lucky so far to visit the structure. So I request my technical team if they could quickly take us through the medium of video through the short film on the World Peace Dome. Over to you, technical team.
इक्कीसवीं शताब्दी में मेरी भारत माता विश्व गुरु बनने की काबिलियत रखता है. It will become a विश्व गुरु in the 21st century. उसका छोटा सा उदाहरण, छोटा सा सिंबल यहाँ बन गया है, ऐसा मेरा मानना है. I must say that in the entire history after the independence since 1947, this is one of the unique steps towards the contribution of universal humanity, and my government of India I appeal to the Vice President and Honorable Chief Minister to recognize this World Peace Dome as a structure of national and global importance and support to promote it in such a way that it evolves as one of the prominent tourism destinations of the world.
Thank you very much for that video. I'm sure we must have understood the grandeur of the structure and, most importantly, the message that structure is trying to give us. It is my pleasure now to take the entire gathering forward to one of the most important events in the history of MIT World Peace University, the declaration of the Dalai Lama chair, for which I would like to invite the Honorable Trustee and Secretary of the Foundation for Universal Responsibility for His Holy Highness, the Dalai Lama, New Delhi. But before I invite Sri Rajiv Mehrotra ji, I would like to request my technical team if they could please kindly relay a small film made on life and work of Sri Rajiv Ji Mehrotra. Over to you.
Mr. Rajiv Mehrotra is a trustee and secretary of the Foundation for Universal Responsibility, established with the Dalai Lama's Nobel Peace Prize. He is also a renowned writer, television producer, director, and a documentary filmmaker. Mr. Mehrotra today manages, as the Honorary Secretary Trustee, the Foundation for Universal Responsibility of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and is the founder and managing trustee of the Public Service Broadcasting Trust. He was trustee of the Norbulinga Institute of Tibetan Culture, the Navdanya Trust. He was till recently chairman of the media foundation that administers the Chameli Devi Awards for Journalism and a media watchdog website, The Hoot. He has been a close personal student of His Holiness the Dalai Lama for nearly 30 years. As a filmmaker, he has won more than 50 national awards from the President of India. We are honored to welcome Mr. Rajiv Mehrotra to the World Parliament on Science, Religion and Philosophy 2020.
Indeed, our honor and privilege, sir, to have you here today. Without taking a minute more, I request you to kindly address the gathering. Over to you, sir. Rajiv ji, I think you're on mute. I request you to kindly unmute yourself. Yes, you're now, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say I'm deeply embarrassed by that great nudge to my ego. I think that sort of mundane, worldly accomplishments have really little place in the aspirations of a student, and I think of the work that we are hoping to set out to do. I start with a short prayer to my teacher, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and his root mantra as the embodiment of the Buddha aspect of compassion, Avalokiteshvara, is Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So may the blessings of His Holiness and His compassion bear upon our aspirations and our work together with the MIT World Peace University. The Foundation for Universal Responsibility of His Holiness the Dalai Lama is looking forward to signing our Memorandum of Association with the World Peace University to set up a Dalai Lama chair as a precursor to a Center for Indic and Dalai Lama Studies as a rigorous academic space that will nurture the study of India's rich civilizational heritage and its diversity. It's inspired by one of the greatest universities in Indian history, the Nalanda University, of which His Dalai Lama is the preeminent heir, certainly in today's times and in history. We will explore together areas such as the study of the world's religions, interfaith harmony, the conversation between science and spirituality, faith traditions, world peace, et al. The focus will be on ways in which this can offer insights and solutions to contemporary and future challenges. I hasten to add that His Holiness describes India as the guru for him and the Tibetans as the chelas. And he feels that it is now the turn of the chelas to work to help revive the great heritage of India. It is today one of his major personal commitments, and our partnership with MIT is an important step in fulfilling that aspiration and that direction. At the core of this effort is, what is it to be Indian? What is the heritage that defines us? What value does it have in a shrinking, interdependent world? The lectures and the chair and the center will posit that the Indian heritage has traditional perspectives and achievements that deserve to be assimilated into the common legacy of mankind, out of the conviction that they can provide valuable vantage points from which solutions and alternatives to today's problems might emerge. We are talking here about India becoming a Vishwaguru. We need to draw on the rich Indian tradition, the methods of education embodied in its great universities, like the Nalanda University, and to go beyond talk and public policy. What was the essence of the Nalanda tradition? The Nalanda tradition embodied the juxtaposition of method and wisdom, taught by people who embodied its highest aspirations. It emanates from who we are and how we work together in this very important enterprise. What is the method and wisdom that we talk about? The wisdom is to understand the true nature of reality. And it is in this space that the very important conversation that Professor Vishwanath Karad holds forth needs to emerge. It is not merely the union. It is really to understand through diverse perspectives what is the true nature of reality. And where does the method come in? And this was the main strength of the Nalanda tradition, and that it moved beyond rhetoric and a conceptualized teaching to the felt experience of the true nature of reality. We can talk till doomsday about impermanence, about interdependence, but unless we adopt the methods, we will not be able to impact our deepest reflexive responses, and it remains in the realm of rhetoric and curriculum and credits. The strength of the Nalanda tradition was that it drew upon India's rich civilizational heritage of training the mind in order to move beyond the conceptual framework of intellectual understanding and to merge them into being able to live India's great heritage. And so the great masters do not merely speak eloquently, and the great teachers do not merely speak eloquently about wisdom, but manifest it by who they are as much as by what they say. And that to us is the aspiration of this chair. I would like to greet, I should have started with this, but I thought it was important that as we celebrate our partnership with MIT, that I acknowledge and celebrate Dr. Pema Kanchaji. As you know, Arunachal Pradesh has very deep links and connections with Tibetan Buddhism and the philosophies that we will be striving to. And we are grateful to you, Honorable Chief Minister, for being here and for sharing in this very important aspiration. Swami Atmapriyanandaji, I have to acknowledge him because he is the heir to the tradition of the Ramakrishna Mission, where I received my first teachings and diksha from the president of the Ramakrishna Mission, Swami Ranganathananda. And so I acknowledge Swami Atmapriyananda's presence, who has been a friend, teacher, and mentor to me. But of course, all, in the most significant way, perhaps, is Dr. Vishwanath Karad, who, again, I think is someone who embodies and walks his talk. And so thank you, Dr. Karad, for being a part of this initiative. And Mr. Rahul Karad, who is, I call him Rahul Bhai, because he's a kindred soul. And I think that embodies as the next generation that will carry forth this torch of method and wisdom. I truly celebrate him for who he is, and it is rare that the torch, whenever it is passed on to such a worthy inheritor of a great legacy. My friend Professor Srao, Professor Padma Lam, Dr. N.T. Rao, Dr. Bhatkar, and of course, my young friend Darshan, who has, with great patience and great sagacity, helped put the groundwork for this together. And I look forward to working on a day-to-day basis with Rahul Bhai and Darshan in developing this very important initiative. Thank you all for your patience, and we will collectively need your prayers and your support as this dream unfolds. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rajiv Mehrotraji. Thank you very much for those.
I think you have given quite a long introduction of mine. I just want to respond quickly what Rajivji just now shared his mind. A very, very deep person. I think he doesn't need any introduction, but because we are putting this very effort on the record today through this conference through this webinar series and through the technology. So I must express little my mind, Raju bhai. What a great fortune today. Honorable Chief Minister is here to announce this very intention of establishing this very important chair in the area of peace. The subject which is very, very dear to heart of our founder, our revered founder, Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir, who gave us a dream, my dear friends, that we all know that education is a great tool to transform any society, but this very concept of unification of science and spirituality, what he has been talking since, at the age of 10, 15, he started thinking about Swami Vivekananda and reading small booklet, and further, he carried his journey and created a great platform through this MIT group of institutions, where this around 60,000 students are taking education, with some 8,000 staff members, teaching, non-teaching, all put together, and various places, various other educational campuses he has established in his career. And because of this platform now, we all are very excited, and more than just infrastructure, but the very vision and the purpose, which all the time excite Raju bhai, I must say here. There are all other respected people sitting. Swami Atma Priyanandaji, I respect you so much. I have gone through your profile, and Professor Ramdas Lam, Dr. Karan Tej Singh Sherao, my Vice Chancellor, and various other respected people are here. Dr. Bhatkar, sir, I can't see him right now, but I was told he's here. So, and of course, our revered founder, Dr. Vishwanath Karad, sir. Honorable Chief Minister, this institution is, very, very unique. As in my inaugural speech also, I shared my mind that the professional institutions worldwide, nobody carries such a unique vision. And we all feel very, very proud from, all the time, whenever we work with our day-to-day technology, science, and spiritual, to say the pharmacy, MBA, engineering, computer science, AI, artificial intelligence, and so many other things. But when this very doctrine of world peace through this spiritualization and the inner engineering, what we talk about, the great word, what even Sadhguruji gave, I have no words to express all the time this happiness. This is the 6th Parliament of Science, Religion, and Philosophy what we are conducting, Raju bhai, and I recollect His Holiness participated 4 times in the MIT Group of Institutions program. I don't know whether you have this record, but the first was in the conference, the World Philosophy, the first conference what in 1998 Professor Karad sir conducted, and further the Indian Students Parliament is another very important initiative for promotion of good governance, democracy. The 3rd time when he came for the National Teachers Congress, and the 4th time he came for National Women's Parliament, which is one of the important initiatives with Andhra Pradesh government we conducted for the women empowerment. And what a good fortune after 25 years now that there is, the blessing from His Holiness that he has shown the interest in our organization. And thanks to Raju Malhotraji, who is heading the very important foundation directly founded by His Holiness. And there is this keenness to establish this very important chair in the area of, the Indic studies on future of world peace. And I think all these areas are so important, we all know. And our very fundamental thought process quickly, Raju bhai, as we have discussed before also, to some informal conversation on some formal conversations also. First of all, let me apologize. There are some gaps in last 1 or 2 months. There are some reasons separately we can discuss. There were some hindrances while coordinating little small dots, but in the future, I want to commit after your declaration today about this share that so far in last 37 years, what this organization has done, you are very well aware. You are such a dear friend of Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir. You have spent quite a time with him. You know his very inner, that the core, how he thinks, what he thinks about education. And but I want to commit today, Raju bhai, that amongst various chairs worldwide, because His Holiness is a global ambassador for India, and I think he doesn't need any introduction. He is a great soul, great gift for this Mother Earth, and I think we all love him. He's just a gesture, and his glimpses, whenever we see at him, there is some peace which automatically comes from every individual. So So I have no words, His Holiness, today that you thought of this institution. And but last these 25 years of relation, I must say he must have addressed number of gatherings worldwide, but this very important World Peace Dome and the Sant Ganeshwara World Peace Prayer Hall and Library and establishment of this chair will be a very, very unique, I want to tell you. And we are very committed, and this will be the unique chair and most, I will not say hardworking, but this chair can be truly active, and it can, for generations together, this chair can make an impact. That is my confidence, Raju Bhai, with all my vice chancellors, all my other staff members, students, everybody, and trust me that in the pandemic, Dr. Karad was not really convinced, our revered founder. He said, Rahul, let us keep this for 1.5 days or 2 days conference. And then we said, let us keep it 4 days. Then finally we decided 3 days. I said, this is a winning on the COVID. And the whole world has learned that how to engage through this medium of technology, which was easily available, and it has compelled us, and which is connecting all of us so beautifully, and such a beautiful knowledge creation. We are continuously, we are generating so much of knowledge. And already in last 4 months, we have conducted National Conference on Media and Journalism. Another very important conference we conducted for the executive wing empowerment, the UPSC felicitation program, wherein it was a 4 days convention, the biological and chemical weapon conference for the world peace. So various conventions. Another important, Raju Bhai, one important convention we are conducting is called as role of judiciary to promote the culture of world peace in next 2 months time, wherein 1,000 the lawyers and the judiciary people, they are going to take a part of it. And so many such activities we are doing here at MIT World Peace University, and all the time our quest to connect all our degree programs with the society, and of course this the spiritual component of life, and so that they use their education for much better purpose in their lifetime. So that is the consistency and the efforts I want to express, Raju Bhai. I'm really emotional, not just the words, because I understand that how, and this is a great blessing, how it has come. And I think the seed was sowed long back, some four decades before, by our founder. And we are so blessed, my friends, that His Holiness thought of establishing this very important chair as World Peace Dome. So once again, I say, Honorable Chief Minister, you are a great, you are aware that we establish a school of government, India's first school to develop the future politicians. And someday I wish after pandemic, you come to city of Pune to visit the World Peace Dome as well as the MIT School of Government. Recently, I saw that some 24 kilometers you walked to meet one such ordinary person there in your state. And all these gestures are so important. Day by day we are becoming very, very self-centered. We even don't want to convey those gestures also to the society. I feel very painful that this self-centeredness is not a good idea for the humanity. And what can transform is only education, and education with these values, education with this spiritual component of what this DNA of India, what we talk about. And all the Western universities, they are all the time now, they are talking about the liberal arts to be imbibed with the professional education. And I think in Indian context, if we have to say, I think it is very much in our genes and DNA. And now the whole world is looking at India. And in the days to come, it will look at India, I feel, more deeper and with more sense of involvement towards, this transformation of the humanity. Towards creating a truly peaceful world. So thank you so much once again, and I hope through you I take this thing that you will pass on this message to His Holiness. I'm very, very confident, and he is aware about every moment. I don't know, but he may be even observing there, and I can see his face right now when I'm expressing little my feelings. So once again, I bow down in front of His Holiness, and then this is today is a historic day, my dear friends, all the staff members of MIT Group of Institutions, and I'm getting the goosebumps right now on my hand here when I'm talking about His Holiness. And great, and the excitement what our founder carried in '96 for the first time when he came into our campus, and the same excitement, Raju bhai, our all staff members, just now Group Captain Apte expressed his feeling, and and each and every staff members, we are trying our level best that how to understand the very purpose of human life, and and to create a
I think there seems to be some connectivity issue at his end. We'll wait for a few seconds, otherwise we'll continue. I don't think, Rahul sir, can you hear us?
Yes, I think he's back.
Yeah. Sir, can you hear us? So we lost your last, so you're mute, you're on mute. So you're still on mute.
No, it is automatically somebody, I think, technical error. It didn't happen from my side. So Raju bhai, I hope you have received that what I really wish to say behalf of all the team members and everybody on behalf of our founder. So this is little dry, this online conference, but I think it's fine. At least through technology, we are able to connect with each other. But I really want to hug you right now and say namaskar and pranams to His Holiness and go down once again in front of him and everybody here in this panel today also. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And we could actually sense that all your thoughts were coming from bottom of your heart. And the way you were sharing your thoughts clearly communicated that your heart was speaking today. Thank you very much for that, sir. And now it is time that I request the chief guest of this session, Honorable Chief Minister of the State of Arunachal Pradesh, Honorable Shri Pema Khanduji, along with Shri Rajiv Mehrotra ji and Swami Atmanand Priyaji, to kindly say that they declare the Dalai Lama chair, because again, this is a limitation of technology. We cannot really do anything else but to say it. So I request the Honorable Chief Minister, sir, to say that he declares the Dalai Lama chair. Over to you, sir.
I'd like to interrupt for a minute. I think we would like to invite Dr. Rahul Karat and Dr. Vishwanath Karat to say it with us. It is a partnership between us.
Yes, I'll request them as well.
So I think it's very important that
yes,
they do that.
Honorable Chief Minister, sir.
Yeah, we declared the Dalai Lama chair open.
Thank you very much, sir. Shri Rajiv Mehrotra ji.
Well, we're delighted and honored to announce the establishment of the Dalai Lama chair as a precursor to the Dalai Lama Center.
Thank you
very much, everybody.
Swami Atmapriyanand ji.
I'm extremely delighted to be a witness and a participant to this historic event when His Holiness Dalai Lama chair is being declared, with Rajiv as the force driving the whole endeavor.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
With Mr. Rahul
Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat, sir.
Let it be said, with Mr. Rahul Karat.
Yes, I'm coming to.
So no, that's very important.
Yes. Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat, sir, could you please declare?
I am really grateful to Mr. Rajiv Mehrotra, Rahul, and Darshan Mahara for making this historic event possible. I see a tremendous radiance of light of the knowledge divine and peace, which is an embodiment in His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji. Rajiv Ji, it's our responsibility now to really make this message pass on to the whole community, the whole of humanity. And I have a tremendous sense of satisfaction that yes, something very unique, because today I don't see such a noble soul possibly in the whole of the world, whenever I look for some person worthy of it, I have been dreaming this for quite some time. And I can see that this very chair, which will certainly speak the Panchasil of Tathagat Gautam Buddha, the message of peace of Mahatma Gandhi, and the very message for the well-being of the entire mankind, with the purity of heart, purity of mind, and purity of thought, and purity in action.
Yes.
That is what Dalai Lama ji, and this chair has certainly the fortune of carrying this message to the well-being of mankind. I'm so thankful, so grateful, so happy.
True. So, but we are still looking for the precise words from you that you declare the Dalai Lama chair.
When the Honorable Chief Minister has done, Rajiv ji has done, I certainly joined. It's my responsibility, and for joining hands together and taking the responsibility is our mission. And I hope that I certainly do accept, and I declare that the Dalai Lama World Peace Chair is open and
thank you
to carry forward in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for those words. I now request the Managing Trust and Executive President, Sri Rahul B. Karat, sir, to kindly declare.
Thank you, Professor Gautam. Let me once again say, I want to declare today in this 6th Parliament of World Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy, this great partnership of Foundation for Universal Responsibility for His Holiness Dalai Lama and Dr. Vishwanath Karad, MIT World Peace University, the chair, the Dalai Lama chair for the world peace. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Raju ji, and everybody from your team and your organization. And I also say thank you so much to my teammates also. They are taking continuous efforts for this, propagating this effort, and they all are enjoying rather this work. So I'm once again, I'm thankful and what we should declare very, very positively. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you very much, sir. And in this university structure of MIT World Peace University, I cannot end this without requesting the Honorable Vice Chancellor of MIT World Peace University to join us and declare the Dalai Lama chair. Over to you, Vice Chancellor, sir.
Thank you, Gautam. I hereby declare establishment of Dalai Lama chair in association with MIT World Peace.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. And let's clap wherever we are, and let's join our hands as this declaration of the Dalai Lama chair has happened. And I now request my technical team to quickly relay a small film on the Dalai Lama chair. Thank you very much. And I now request my technical team to relay a musical tribute to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Technical team, over to you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings of the day. Our heartiest congratulations to Dr. Vishwanath Karad and the committee members of MIT World Peace University for the 6th World Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy. It is indeed an honor and privilege for us at Banyan Tree to be part of this great initiative and this very special occasion. Today is the declaration of the Dalai Lama chair as a tribute to His Holiness the Dalai Lama for advancing world peace and non-violence. And to mark this very special and grand occasion, we bring you chants by monks of the Drepung Gomang Monastery, which was founded in 1416 AD in Tibet. It used to have 5,000 monks in the monastery with students from Tibet, Russia, Mongolia and Himalayan regions of India and Nepal. After the invasion of 1959, only a handful of 100 monks from Gomang were able to flee Tibet and follow His Holiness the Dalai Lama into the exile in India. With the blessings and guidance of His Holiness Dalai Lama and support from the Government of India, the monastery was able to regroup themselves and started the preservation of their endangered culture at Buxa in northeast of India. In 1969, the refugee camp was re-established in Mungol, south of India, where the current monastery lies. In the early 80s, when the Chinese government relaxed the border restrictions, the monastery started receiving new arrivals in big group. The monks tonight are doing special prayers with the chants for world peace. There is also a prayer for the well-being, good health and happiness of all in the audience. May this prayer bring you, all of you, good health, prosperity, long life and peace in this world. The Dalai Lama chair is being declared now.
Thank you very much for that video. And now it's time that I invite the Honorable Chief Guest of this session, Honorable Chief Minister of the State of Arunachal Pradesh, Shri Pema Khanduji. But before I invite him to address the gathering, I would like to request my technical team to kindly play the film made on life and work of Shri Honorable Shri Pema Khanduji.
Mr. Pema Khandu is a noted politician and the current Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh. He is the eldest son of former Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Mr. Dorji Khandu. He is a graduate from the prestigious Hindu College in New Delhi. Previously, Mr. Khandu had served as Minister of Tourism, Urban Development and Water Resources in Nawam Tuki's government. Post his father's death, he was included in the state government as Cabinet Minister for Water Resource Development and Tourism. He won the by-election to his father's constituency uncontested in 2011. Mr. Khandu was re-elected unopposed from Mukto in the 2014 Arunachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly election. He took the oath as the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh in 2016 at the tender age of 37 following a year-long political crisis. We are honored to welcome Mr. Pema Khandu to the World Parliament on Science, Religion and Philosophy 2020.
Thank you very much for that video. And without taking a single more minute, I request the Honorable Chief Minister, sir, to kindly address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Gautamji. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So in fact, it's a very, rare privilege for me to be amongst the finest intellectuals of this wonderful program of launch of Dalai Lama's chair in this valedictory program of 6th World Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy, organized by the MIT World Peace University from 2nd October, the auspicious occasion of the birth anniversary of our Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi ji. And I must thank Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat ji, founder and chief patron of Myers MIT Pune, and also the president MIT World Peace University for taking the initiative. Along with him, his dynamic son, Shri Rahul Karat ji, managing trustee and executive president, Myers MIT. And I must mention Shri Rajiv Malhotra ji, who is the trustee and secretary of the Foundation of Universal Responsibility for His Holiness the Dalai Lama for taking such a wonderful step. And I'm very glad to see our Reverend Swami Atmananda Priyananda ji, Swami Atma Priyananda ji, who is the Vice Chancellor of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University, Bellarmad. In fact, Arunachal Pradesh shares a very close and very old relationship with Ramakrishna Mission. In fact, RK Mission has contributed a lot since 1960s and 70s for shaping up Arunachal Pradesh. So I'm very glad to see Swamiji here present in this virtual meet today. And also good to see Group Captain Apteji, Professor Ramdas Lam, Professor Religious University of Hawaii, USA, Dr. N.T. Raoji, and Dr. Karamtej Singh Sarao, Head of Department Buddhist Studies, Delhi University, distinguished guests, and my brothers and sisters who are watching this program live through various social media platforms. Firstly, I would like to convey my greetings by saying Namaskar once again to all of you from the land of rising sun, Ukta Suraj Ka Bhumi, Arunachal Pradesh. Although it has already started, our October month has already started, but still now, there are lots of rain going on here in my state because of its geographical location. And this morning also, we had a very heavy rainfall here. Hopefully, I think by mid of October, we will have a very good life beneath the bright sunshine. Anyway, by saying so, today, in fact, it's a very honored and privilege for me to be present amongst you all. Like science, religion, and philosophy are huge subjects which have shaped our world since time immemorial. These are, however, something which the intellectuals have already dwelt and deliberated upon for the larger benefit of humanity. In front of the galaxy of highly learned intellectuals, I feel naive to discuss about this subject. However, I feel very happy that I'm given a rare opportunity for placing my point of view in whatever least it may be from my side. I express my heartiest gratitude to the organizers of this parliament to have me here today. The MIT World Peace University is known to be among the top education institutions in India. Today, it is the epicenter for imparting a holistic value-based education for the promotion of universal culture of peace and welfare among the youth. It does sound very unconventional in the present day scenario, where our youths are striving for materialistic gains and chase their dreams accordingly. But if we look at the world from what it has achieved as of now, universal culture of peace and welfare is the most essential element in development of humanity. I salute the founder of the university, Professor Vishwanath Karatji, to have understood the very basic as well as the prosperity of humanity on this earth. The 6th World Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy has taken into fold many subjects and issues which are most relevant to us as human beings at this hour. It has facilitated deliberations on many issues which has been neglected in the pursuit of happiness and prosperity. However, the irony of our development is that our development has always been on conflict. Be it be in whatever scale it is, the conflict has given rise to many evils of humanity: envy, hatred, war, radicalism, so on and so forth. In our mad race of prosperity and development, peace always occupied the backseat. As I understand, the Parliament has brought discussion on promotion of Gandhian philosophy, union of science and spirituality, harmony of mankind, a holistic approach to make our beautiful world a better place to live in. I hope that discussion in this Parliament on such relevant issues will have a positive impact on entire humanity. Today, in this 10th session of the 6th World Parliament of Science, Religion and Philosophy, as we have made the declaration of the Dalai Lama chair, taking this opportunity, I wish the very best to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama and his institution. The institution of Dalai Lama is century old and regarded as the fountainhead of wisdom. Many of you might be knowing that 6th Dalai Lama was born in the Mon region of Tawang district in Arunachal Pradesh. So there is a direct Indian connection to the institution of Dalai Lamas. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, as his name means, the ocean of wisdom. He is the icon of peace and Nobel laureate who championed for peace in the current times. He is to 21st century what Mahatma Gandhi was to 20th century. Despite losing his country to the Chinese in 1959, His Holiness always advocated for humanity, love, compassion, and large-heartedness to everybody, even to the Chinese who conquered his country. His Holiness always taught us how to nurture our genuine human feelings, which is already present on us. As we all know, how our Rashtrapita, Mahatma Gandhi ji, fought with the mighty British with a simple tool of ahimsa and finally won freedom for our nation. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, as he admits time and again, drew inspirations from Mahatma Gandhi ji. Ahimsa or non-violence is what he wants to see as the order of world today. As a spiritual leader, His Holiness emphasizes Buddhist teaching to rational thinking and scientific analysis. This has added a new dimension to practice religion in the 21st century. His Holiness regards that the Nalanda tradition of Buddhism, which he professes, largely influenced by pre-Buddhist ancient science and spiritualism. It is on the basis of his focus more on being a good human than being anything else. The thought of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama on modern education is something we must heed to. He feels that apart from making a young child educated, he or she should also be taught how to become a good human being, as the future of humanity lies in their hand. The very virtues of ahimsa and kind-heartedness, love, compassion is what he wants to imbibe in every young mind so that the world eventually becomes a better place to live. He advocates the only human approach to all adversaries can resolve conflicts, and this can be achieved through proper education of our younger generation to be better human beings. The World Parliament of Science and Philosophy is indeed a noble contribution to humanity being made by the MIT World Peace University. I believe your efforts will definitely bring in much required change in the present era. And by saying so, I once again would like to convey my best wishes and thanks to Professor Vishwanath Karatji, Shri Rajiv Malhotraji, and Shri Rahul Karat, and the entire team of MIT for inviting me into such a wonderful program. And it is indeed a very historic and I feel very blessed to be part of this program. Before I end up, I would like to also extend my invitation to Professor Vishwanath Karatji, Rahulji also, and all the eminent guests who have joined through this virtual meet to whenever this pandemic COVID is ending, you should all visit to Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh is a very beautiful state. It is although a very strategic state in terms of nation as a whole. We share 3 international boundaries, one with Tibet, Bhutan, and Myanmar. So hopefully, I think you should all also would like to come and visit our beautiful state. So I feel very honored to have participated in this today's program. Once again, thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining in. And I would like to ask if Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat, sir, would like to express gratitude towards Honorable Chief Minister, sir, Shri Pema Khanduji, and Shri Rajiv Mehrotraji, and Swami Atma Priyananji.
Thank you so much, Bapat. But I can only say that I have no words to express my feelings of joy and satisfaction when I heard the Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh at such a young age, the words of wisdom which came from the bottom of heart. The passion and the fire in his belly for the well-being of the mankind was expressed, and a very appropriate chief guest for today's function, especially when we have declared with Rajiv Mehrotra, Darshan Mundra, Rahul, and everybody, the chair in the name of His Holiness Dalai Lama for peace. This is going to be something very historic. I can only assure you, Rajivji, please convey first my pranams and my abhivadan to His Holiness. One, to all my friends, to the Chief Minister and everybody. But I can only assure you, friends, through the new team of Rahul and his own complete colleagues and everybody, we will try to see that we are worthy of the confidence reposed in us. The joining hands of Rajiv Mehrotra and our MIT World Peace University will create a new vision, new dimension, and will appropriately convey this message of peace in the name of His Holiness Dalai Lama. That's my only feeling. I once again convey to you. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. The Chief, we will certainly, I had been to Arunachal Pradesh some time, but now again we meet each other because you have the very, very transparent and very appropriate mission in your life too, even though you are in the field of politics, but you are a great human being. Convey my regards to all your people around you. Mehrotra ji, bahut bahut dhanyawad. Convey it, and thank you so much, friends. Thank you. Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you once again on behalf of entire team of organizers and everyone to Honorable Chief Minister, sir, Shri Rajiv Mehrotraji and Swami Atma Priyananji. Thank you very much. And now it's time when I hand over the control to Shri Rajiv Mehrotraji for the most important panel discussion, importance of Indic studies for future of world peace. I would request Rajiv ji to kindly introduce the panel and please take it forward. We precisely have some 20 minutes of time for this particular panel discussion. Over to you, Rajiv.
Thank you. I think so much that's meaningful and important has been said, and there is really, I feel very overwhelmed and full. And I have to say, somewhat bewildered as to where to take this further, but I'm delighted that I have two very distinguished panelists, Dr. Ramdas Lamb and Dr. Srao. And I think I will just straight away hand over to them for their comments and in the precious 15, 20 minutes that we have to give us a sense of what they think are the most important aspects of India's heritage and how we can position them to respond to contemporary predicaments and challenges. Because I think the major challenge has been that we have engaged in a fairly, in some ways, almost facile celebration of India's past in a very sort of hagiographic way, without really relating them and looking at ways in which they can be expressed, articulated, used to analyze, the contemporary challenges. Of course, the many challenges, of the human condition are universal and eternal. But I think there are issues that we confront today, and how we can address the seeming dichotomy between tradition and modernity, and that the deeper affinities are recognized, because the whole question of India and the world's future depends on how this internal motivation to change can be generated. And obviously it cannot happen through political rhetoric or divisive rhetoric, but through mechanisms and structures and how this can be achieved. So I think that really is the underlying, and obviously we need to identify a pattern of problem solving within the traditional Indian heritage, vigorous enough to generate and sustain an internal process of modernization, of development, and which there are no ready-made external solutions and are in accord with the indigenous needs and attitudes. So, I mean, this is just a brief introduction, and I don't know which of you, Dr. Lamb or Dr. Rao, but perhaps I'll request Dr. Srao to, as a scholar of Buddhist studies, and we are looking here in this chair in particular to look at the systems and processes and approaches to education of the Nalanda tradition. So, and perhaps one of the greatest universities in Indian history, along with Takshila and what have you. So what is our learning from the Nalanda tradition that has value to approaches to education? Given the fact that I think it's more or less universally recognized that the most significant point of intervention to catalyze change is obviously through the systems of education that this can happen. So over to you, Dr. Srao.
Thank you very much, Rajiji. As you know, Nalanda University came into existence at a time when Buddhism had nearly declined in some parts of India. The best years of Nalanda were from about the 6th century of the Common Era till about the end of the 12th century, when the Turushkas came and restored. And we know when Muhammad Qasim was the beginning of the 8th century, captured northwestern part of India. And as a result of such events, Buddhism had clearly declined when Nalanda moved into its glorious days. One scholar has very interestingly called Nalanda as a beautiful sunset in Indian civilization. So by the time Nalanda comes into its glory, Buddhism had moved out of the thoughts. So Nalanda was a kind of place where you have every subject you could imagine that was being studied and researched here. Be it Ayurveda, astrology, astronomy, Vedant, Sanskrit, Vyakaran, logic, everything. And as His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, the very basis of the study of Nalanda tradition was science of the mind. Why mind is so important? Mindfulness. Now, His Holiness Dalai Lama, when you read some of his speeches that have been published, very beautifully says that it is a kind of struggle in today's world between materialism and spiritualism. The Indian tradition basically is based on spiritualism. The Western tradition is materialistic. In today's globalizing world, this materialism has taken over, and the world is literally being run by salespersons. And so what's happening? Quite a few well-documented studies done in the recent times show that, for example, a study by Meadows and Meadows, a team of about 20 persons who have been working for the last 25 years, they say that keeping into mind all the variables and constants, some food production will grow, population will grow, pollution will grow, and non-renewable resources are limited, obviously. They are being used in a very irresponsible manner. Keeping all these variables and constants in mind, if we do not do something about the way the world is functioning, we definitely will collapse as a civilization within the 21st century itself. So therefore, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has expressed a very serious concern. According to him, rightfully, we have denied access to resources to a large proportion of our population. Something like 2% of the world population controls more than 95% resources. And it's not only the poor people who create problems because they are poor. A poor person, as the Buddha says, is forced to steal. But why does a rich person steal? What is wrong with this person? Rich person steals because there's something wrong with this guy's mind. He doesn't understand what happiness is. So the Dalai Lama says that the mind needs to be purified. A person has to understand the meaning of happiness, how this world can be made happiness. Acquisition of material goods doesn't make a person happy. So therefore, all our politicians and policymakers who are being driven by this notion that if you produce sufficient goods to meet the basic needs of the people, the world will become happy. That is the wrong notion, because even animals have basic needs. And so when the needs of the animals are fulfilled, basic needs of the humans are fulfilled, they would possibly create more problems, as you can see in the United States of America. A very prosperous society is not necessarily very happy. I think Bhutan is happier than the United States of America, or maybe Arunachal is happier. The people Arunachalis are very poor materially, but very happy. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, apart from many other things, that it is very important to sensitize humans. Mindfulness is basically sensitization of humans to understand the basic goal of humanity. So the Indic tradition, which was studied at Nalanda and was carried by our friends from Tibet, was carried forth because Nalanda was destroyed. So the thought of people like Nagarjun, Shantarakshit, Chandrakirti, Aryadev was carried to Tibet and preserved there. And as Rajiv ji said, now it's being brought back by our friends from Tibet to India and the world at large. So what we need is a sort of system in place where the Indic thought based upon spirituality is practiced, put into practice. And we also have to think as to at what level people can be sensitized. I think it's very difficult to sensitize, change a person, old person like me. Perhaps a child or a young person in the university is easier to sensitize. So we have to function on that. And of course, when you read Nalanda tradition, you read Abhidharma or you read Vedanta, they look all same. They have all merged together and they are all inclusive, pluralistic system. And I think it will be wonderful for the world peace if this kind of notion can be propagated and practiced. And so therefore, I'm really grateful to Rajiv ji for putting all efforts into it to establish this chair for peace studies.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suran. I don't think I deserve any of this credit. It really is His Holiness's vision, and that we are very modestly, trying to take some first altering steps. But thank you, Dr. Rao. Dr. Lam, perhaps we could go back in time into India's heritage. It surely didn't start with the Nalanda tradition, though it was a bringing together, a revisioning, and giving it a fresh impetus. Between the Vedanta and the Vedas and the Upanishads, through to the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and then the socialization of that philosophy into sort of the pragmatism of Chanakya. For example, there has been an element of, people would argue, the purity of that vision has somewhat been diluted by the socialization, the politicization of it through the centuries. And so, what do you, sir, Professor, see as the aspects of India's heritage that have value today, and in what ways maybe reposition or restructure them to be able to make them accessible and useful? Sorry, that's a tall order in 10 minutes, but we have to have a shot at it. You'll have to unmute yourself, sir.
This question is for me, Rajiv.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Well, when I teach about India, and I teach the Dharma traditions, I've been doing that for 30-some years. We need to go back to Indus Valley, Saraswati Valley, and that's really where we get the origins of looking beyond the material. And that's where we get the origins of the ascetic tradition, and the ascetic tradition eventually gets kind of concretized into the yoga systems, and then the development of Jainism and the development of Buddhism. But if we go before that, one of the issues that was really important and I think very significant is that in those areas, no offensive weapons were discovered, right? No animal bones in the settlements to suggest meat eating. They were a nonviolent vegetarian, peace-loving people, and it was there where they got the inspiration to go deeper, and it was that kind of lifestyle that inspired them, and that's really where it begins, and that's what India has to offer, and in long before anywhere else in the world, the concept of ahimsa as a way of life developed in India. The concept of going within and finding one's inner peace truly developed in India, right? There are many cultures that still don't have that, right? The idea of peace and nonviolence as an integral to one's life. Anything we can do as individuals or as collective to help to awaken consciousness of people to the importance of that way of life, the way of life of ahimsa, the way of life of truth-telling. I mean, early on, we find this in the development of Jainism, the development of Buddhism. Clearly, Mahatma Gandhi spoke about it. Clearly, it's in the Yoga Sutras. Two things: Satya and Ahimsa. Right? Satya and Ahimsa are foundational to the Dharma traditions, and if we don't focus on Satya and Ahimsa, we're not really focusing on the really foundational roots, I think, of the Dharma tradition. We can advance technologically, and we've done that, and we can blow up the world 10,000 times over now in that much time. So we've developed a great deal, but as one of the previous persons mentioned, science is constantly changing. Wisdom doesn't change. Truth doesn't change. And so if we want to get to that which is permanent, that which is foundational, then we have to get to that. I teach courses at the University of Hawaii on India. I teach it on the Dharma traditions, on the Indic traditions. I teach it on asceticism and yoga, teach it on ethics and the students really love when you give them an opportunity to look inside and find out what is foundational. Because, I teach breathing to my students, and I say, let's just slow down, right? Let's just start breathing, and think about the world around you. I have all my students take a vow, do a vrat, right? And I tell them, I don't care what vrat you do, but grow. Taking a vrat means I am patterning my life. I am deciding I'm going to do something with my life. So it's not just intellectual, it's practical. We have to teach processes. We have to help students to understand what are the processes that made the Indic traditions so valuable and so worthwhile and so beautiful. And I'm a part of an organization, some of you may have heard of it, Uberoi Foundation, and we bring students. And I'm on the board of trustees for that. And we're going to have students, we were supposed to have students in July in Pune this year, but because of the pandemic, we couldn't. So we'll probably be there next year. And we bring middle school and high school teachers from America to come and learn about the Dharma traditions firsthand, and to learn what it means to live these traditions. And I think that's what really needs to be spread, is that the Indic traditions are not just something to study, they're something to live. There's something to experience. And so I get my students to do field work. Unfortunately, there's no Jain temples or gurudwaras in Hawaii, but there are Buddhist temples, and there's a Hindu temple. The ISKCON temple is actually a very beautiful place. And I get the students to go and experience and watch and participate and learn. And the students are changed. They are changed when it becomes practical instead of just intellectual. And I think the best thing that we can do for students is to give them an opportunity to live some aspects of a tradition that promotes peace and nonviolence as an integral way.
Thank you, Dr. Lam. That was very powerful, short and powerful.
Sorry to interrupt, Rajivji, but we precisely have 10 more minutes for you.
Okay, 10 minutes is a long time. But just a brief, sort of comment on what Dr. Lam said and what Dr. Srao has pointed to. And I think it is, and that will be our aspiration, Raulbhai, is on process. And this is what Dr. Lam was talking about, and that's what, I mentioned on method, is that, this process of people going to Gurdwara or going to a space. And, one of the things that has truly moved and inspired me about many things of His Holiness the Dalai Lama is his willingness to go to a mosque and do the namaz, or to go to a church and sing a Christian hymn. And so our foundation, we organize a project, we call it Interfaith Pilgrimage, where we say take 40 people of different traditions to go to the places of worship and practice, to actually experience what other traditions represent, not just here, and even not just in the heart, but actually somewhere much deeper. So I think that was one of the lessons from the Nalanda tradition, and our aspiration for the chair are really to look at this aspect of process, of method, so that our deepest reflexive responses are transformed. And so as human beings, we are transformed. And I'm really grateful to Dr. Lam and Dr. Srao for this very sort of significant pointing to the fundamental aspiration of what we seek to do. So we're not just looking at scholarship, we're looking for transformation. And I do want to flag, we had a fair amount of sort of, discussion on yoga, for example. And I think we sort of, we were mistaken, because we look at yoga is really a method towards wisdom, to an experiential process. And if we turn it into pure gymnastics or exercise, it is really counterproductive. And so you'll see the great masters like Swami Shivananda or B.K. Iyengar. It really is that you don't, yoga has to be personalized. It cannot be mass yoga, because you need a certain sort of psychological preparation. Otherwise, it will reinforce the sense of self that you're really trying to diminish. An important sort of qualities, I mean, that His Holiness certainly talks about is satya, which is in a sense relates to truth and the true nature of reality and the recognition that that true nature of reality is relative. Ahimsa, which is of course not just the absence of violence, but and the third peg is really of karuna, of compassion. And compassion is arrived at through the recognition of interdependence and impermanence. And so once we start looking at the elements on which this pyramid of sort of human evolution or mental evolution is arrived at, and that's how we have to design our journey with the chair and with the center. So it's not just an academic intellectual space, which it must be to the best international standards, but in the spirit of what Dr. Lamb is saying and what Dr. Rao has said, and of Swami Vivekananda too, that we really have to look at a transformational space, and where it cannot be merely a curriculum with credits and marks. It's something much more complex and larger than itself. I was told, I mean, sort of that I've taken up 3.5 of those 10 minutes. Is there a context for, questions to our distinguished panel? It always is difficult to do a session just before lunch, but is there? Well, if not, then perhaps we should just, wind up, or the panel has any chair thing, and let me know.
Yeah, definitely. As you rightly said, we still have precisely 6 minutes on hand. So if Dr. Lamb or Dr. Sarao would like to share a few more thoughts,
so let me ask, Dr. Rao, and then the question of, Dr. Lamb, is just to go back to this question of that, what are the elements that we look at that will, respond to today's, very fragmented world. And, you spoke about the material, but at the moment, I think the great challenge is one of fragmentation, of the otherness of the other, which is aggravating and creating so much discord and violence. And there is Dr. Lamb has pointed to the process. Now, what kind of processes do you see, Dr. Rao, from, or maybe, yeah, I will just jump to Dr. Lamb even as I talk about it, because I think he's looking at, what we were looking at, and I really mean the, the Vedanta and the Upanishadic traditions. And so what are the elements that you would, and how might we cultivate this? You've suggested one idea.
Like I mentioned, I have my students do breaths, right? I have them take sankalpas. I have them, in other words, what is a sankalpa? But it's an imagination, it's an imagining of my life and what I'm going to do to alter my life for a particular period of time, right? And so I was a sadhu for nearly 10 years in the Ramayana Center. And 3 things: breaths, sankalpas, and anushtana. And I talk to my students about that. And I say, make your life an anushtana, right? Take sankalpas, do breaths, form your life. Don't let your life be run by the television. Don't let your life be run by what's on Facebook. But you make your life, because then it becomes powerful. Gandhiji told us the greatest power is tyag. Right? Because if I practice tyag, I can't be threatened, I can't be coerced, I can't be bought off. I'm all powerful. And so I tell my students, get free. Be free of all that stuff, but there's a process for that. And that process is what we find in the Indic traditions. That process of moving away from the material dependency to the spiritual growth, to the consciousness, the development of consciousness. It comes through a process.
Thank you. Dr. Shram.
I agree with Dr. Lamb. What we need to do is we need to put a system in place whereby we can cultivate habits like simplicity, is wasted unnecessarily, sharing, compassion, love, empathy, concern for the welfare of everybody around you, restraint, santushti with as little as possible, pureness of desires. All this needs to be done in the world. And how can it be done? I think it is basically the mind, mindful.
Training the mind.
Somehow the mind.
I think I should just add that, I've had some experience with the Krishnamurti tradition, the Krishnamurti schools. And I think there was the recognition there, as, I love the phrase that Dr. Lam used, process, that we can keep engaging and celebrating the process, not necessarily locking in and defining the destination. So, for example, there was a wonderful moment when I was at the Krishnamurti school. Actually, I was doing a film for them about his approach to education. And so it was sports day. And there has been all this sort of conversation about ambition, not being ambitious and not winning or losing. And so someone, a young student raised it. He said, well, that's very difficult, to run a race without somebody winning or wanting or trying to win. And, how do you resolve that? And I said, there was this great humility in the teacher. And it was that, well, it's important that we ask the question. We may not have the answer to that. And, there is the rhetoric, the thing of the Olympic Games, that it is in playing that it's important. But if you play a game of hockey, someone ends up winning and losing. But we can change our relationship to the idea of winning and to the idea of losing. But someone does, in inverted commas, win. So I think that this emphasis on method and process is really the cornerstone of our journey, and like they say, the destination is the journey. And I think that is really it's important not to lock in the destination and to too pointedly or too intellectually or cerebrally and conceptually define it. And that is the challenge for education. And hence, if I mean it was meant, and no disrespect was meant to education policy, but that's the problem. Policy tends to define a destination. And that really is the more sort of intangible but exciting journey that we're looking for our partnership with MIT. And I'm really excited about Rahul Bhai's, where he's coming from, and as a kindred soul. To explore this. We don't have the answers. We must start with that humility and then proceed. And I think that really is, whether it's Gandhiji.
Sorry, Rajivji, we have reached the end of time. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, I'm being very verbose. Thank you very much, Dr. Srao and Dr. Lam, and we hope that you will be a part of this journey. Of course, to Rahul Bhai, to Mr. Bapat, to Dr. N.T. Rao, who the university will provide the infrastructure for this, to Captain Namte, and so many people, and not the least, the man who has sort of borne the thrust of all the work has been Darshan Mundada. And thank you, Darshan. You have put in heroic effort in bridging the many challenges we have confronted. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. It's been a great honor, a great privilege, and dare I add, a great blessing to be.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajivji. But my apologies for
no,
that's the bad part of this job, apparently. Thank you very much for kindly considering. And let me now quickly take this session forward towards conclusion. But please do remember that we have our next very important session, the 11th session, the youth session, personal identity and peace, starting sharp at 4:30 p.m. today. So make sure that you log in by 4:15 so that there is no rush and hurry and we can start our session on time. So now to conclude this session, I would like to request the Honorable Vice Chancellor of MIT World Peace University, Professor Dr. N.T. Rao, to kindly propose the concluding remarks and vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Gautam. In an individual's life, there are times where you feel contented, satisfied, and think, yes, I've done something. I'm really feeling proud and privileged that I am here on this day where we are declaring establishment of Dalai Lama chair. I think there's nothing can be prouder for an individual who is working in the World Peace University. The very essence, very ethos, everything, this looks for the peace. And what more a greater event than this. So as on a personal note, I would really consider this is one of the big days where we can look back and say, yes, here, 4th October 2020 is the day where we declared establishment of Dalai Lama chair. And having said that, I would also like to take 2 minutes where every speaker today emphasized how Nalanda system is relevant even for 21st century. Yes, we need to talk about the values. And I think when our executive president, Professor Rahul Karat, emphatically stated, education means values. Education means values. Well, that means we need to provide values. It's not simple classroom education. That's more than that. And this we are doing at MIT World Peace University. And through establishment of this chair, we would be taking the peace towards a different plane altogether. That's the hope that I have as the Vice Chancellor of this university. Now, coming to thanking the people. So I would like to say that the Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, he really gave a beautiful talk. And in fact, I'm surprised that to hear from him that His Holiness was born in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. This first time I'm hearing. I think I should have Googled a little more. But he also talked about Mahatma Gandhi's values of ahimsa and non-violence. And one statement he made was, now there's a new dimension in this ahimsa and non-violence are going to provide a new dimension in the 21st century also. On that count, I think his message was really phenomenal. I really thank on behalf of MIT World Peace University, the Chief Minister for taking time out and then spending and giving this message to us. And I know how much I would thank Rajiv ji. Rajiv ji, you were the whole and soul here, and you so many words and so many messages that you have given, so that all of us would be. I've made notes of that. I can't be listing all that you have spoken, but I'm going to share it with my team and say that their messages will be taken forward as seriously as you have delivered. We thank you. I mean, I said I can't thank you enough, but I'll say thank you very much. Whatever it, if it's enough, okay. Thank you very much. And also, I would like to thank Swami Atmapriyananda ji for declaring the establishment of the chair. And of course, the two speakers, Dr. Ramdas Lam and Karanpet Singh ji. So you gave a beautiful direction to us. One thing I would pick from you, sir, is interfaith pilgrimage. That was what we've been talked about. And all of us, we have been talking about the world's largest dome, which MIT WPU has. This itself is an interfaith pilgrimage. If you go there, what you said that we should practice, we've already started it. We already, for the world, let me say that this will be the destination, interfaith pilgrimage. If you want, come visit our World Peace Dome, where you have all the religions can feel proud. Yes, I feel part of interfaith pilgrimage. That tolerance. So all that, this is a message. I would always say it's not a simple dome. It gives much, much more than that. It stands as a testimony to what World Peace University stands for. Now, I would also like to thank our Honorable President and revered President Professor Vishwanath Karat sir. So if it's not for his dream, he dreamt and he made this happen. I think this is the greatest thing that we can think of. I would still ask, how did he dream that I will build this dream? I will build this dome. Forget how it happened, how it actually realized. सोचा कैसे उन्होंने? But he did not only think, sapna dekha tha, sapna ko sakar kiya tha, and he has given us the direction. For that, I think for his blessings would always be there with us. So we would be thanking him. And of course, our executive president, Rahul Karat sir, apart from giving that message that education is values, he also given us the commitment on behalf of MIT WPU that here is the Indic studies and the Dalai Lama chair would be supported fully well, and then it will be taken to the cause for which it's being established. So thank you very much, Rahul Karat sir. And of course, I should also thank Professor Apte for giving the welcome address. And Darshan, I'll be failing if I don't talk about, for setting the tone, maybe those who know, yes, you are behind it, but those of other 300 and not participants, let me inform them that you are the one who is been working for this, and then you must be feeling happy today because your dream is also coming true. And one thing I would say that this is the only time I got in this 4-day session to give my vote of thanks. We've been bringing people, learned scholars, and getting their messages. And we are only thanking the speakers who are speaking on that day. But there are so many people behind that screen, those whom we don't see. Especially our institutional relationship team, which is getting in touch with speakers from every sphere, every corner of the world. We've got youth people speaking, we've got governors and chief ministers speaking, we've got every section, and then scholars and knowledge banks coming to us. So if I don't thank them for making this happen, so I would be, again, I would be failing. At the same time, you need teams to work with, and all the teams that made this happen, this event, which is taking us towards the world peace, establishing world peace. I'm really thankful to all of them, and also those whom I've mentioned, those who have not mentioned, those who are on the screen, those who are behind the screen, whoever has contributed to this major event. I will thank all of them. So thank you very much. God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for proposing a vote of thanks and concluding remarks. Thank you very much. With this, we have reached the end of this session. Thank you very much, everyone on this digital dais, those who have joined us for this very, very important session. Thank you very much, everyone in the audience, for making it special for us. And please remember that 4:30 p.m. sharp today, we will start with our 11th session. So we are waiting at the other side of this break to see you back again and join us for yet another important session. Thank you. Thank you very much. With the permission of everyone on the dais, I would now like to conclude this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we can't hear you.
Gautam, it's offline. I think some speakers, when they were speaking,
well, it's not offline yet.
Sound levels were a bit.
No, they are not offline yet.
Can the technical team just fix that?
Sure, sure. I'll convey.